The Detroit Lions are shaking up the NFL. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Detroit Lions news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The first story is that the Detroit Lions re-signed former Pitt safety. Now, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, they have re-signed former Pitt safety from the Panthers, Eric Howlett II, to their practice squad after previously releasing him. Howlett committed to Pitt in the class of 2018 out of the Cy-Fair High School in Cypress, Texas, near Houston. 24/7 Sports and Rivals both ranked him as a 3-star recruit, with 247 Sports ranking him with the number 73rd cornerback and number 108 prospect in Texas, and Rivals rating him number 78 at his position. So when we look further, he would redshirt in 2018 and then played in 12 games, making 1 start in 2019, as he made 14 tackles and 4 passing breakups. Howlett increasing his playing time in 2020, playing all 10 games and starting the final 4 games of the season. He finished the year with 30 tackles, which is interesting, and also that 20 solo, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 6 passes defended. Now, when we look further, he also played a large role in 2021, starting all 14 games. And on top of that, as Pitt won their first ever ACC championship, he ended with a career high of 72 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, 12 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery, earning himself an honorable mention All ACC. So it definitely was a good time for Howlett. Now, when we also look, the 2 of those interceptions came in the ACC championship game against Wake Forest, including one he took back for 19 yards for a score. Howlett played his last season for Pitt in 2022, starting all 13 games at free safety and making 54 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, 12 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries. His efforts earned him 2nd team All ACC honors. The Jacksonville Jaguars selected Howlett with the number 208th overall pick in the 6th round of the 2023 NFL Draft, making him the first Pitt player they took in franchise history. Now, he never played a down in 2023 regular season for Jacksonville, but he did play in the preseason. The Jaguars waived Howlett on August 27, which allowed the Lions to sign him to their practice squad on August 29. Now, the Lions released him on November 20, but now have him back on their practice squad again. Howlett will also look to impress in the final weeks and ready himself for the Lions as they need it. So when it comes to the Detroit Lions, they definitely are looking at getting some reinforcements, which I think will be fantastic for the team and especially great for them as they look to move forward. Now, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, there also is Kelvin Shepard, who is confident that he can become a defensive coordinator for, a team, and especially Detroit Lions. He said, "Yes, I would be lying to you to say no. Absolutely. That's what happens here. It's not just the players within the building, but it's the coaches as well. I'm very appreciative of the way Dan, Brad, and AG have structured this thing to put you in a leadership role within your own right and within your own room." Now, when we also look further, he also said, "As many times as AG allows me to speak in front of the entire defense, they don't have to do those things," Shepard continued. "I have friends that coach in other buildings, and I know they are not afforded those opportunities, so I don't take them lightly. Indeed, the Lions have become popular for revitalizing their approach in a number of ways, and on top of that, the front office drew praise for its handling of stars Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, and Amon-Ra St. Brown's contract situations this offseason." So it definitely has been an interesting time for the Detroit Lions as they prepare for the next season. The second story is that the doctors are optimistic about Detroit Lions defense with potential Aiden Hutchinson return for the playoff run. Now, the doctor says Hutchinson could be ready to play in late January, which has a lot of Detroit Lions fans absolutely excited. Now, the Detroit Lions are hoping their banged up defense can get healthy in time for the National Football League playoffs or the NFL playoffs, as star Aiden Hutchinson has been out with a broken leg since October. A new report from an NFL insider said he could return as early as the NFC Championship game if the Lions were to make it all the way there. Local 4 talked with the chief of sports medicine at the Detroit Medical Center on Monday, and he's treated several athletes with the same injury as Hutchinson. The doctor said Hutchinson could be ready to play in late January. Athletes like Adrian Hutchinson, who do have surgery for this injury, have over a 91% chance of returning to the NFL. A systematic review showed that anywhere between 3 to 24 months, most of these players return. The reason that's a big deal today is 3 months from this injury is second round of the playoffs, while 4 months from his injury is the Super Bowl. Now, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, obviously they have survived multiple injuries and it definitely has been tough for them, but some things that have been able to keep them alive is a deep coaching staff. Now, linebackers coach Kelvin Shepard is one of the more beloved coaches in the building, but he was quick to credit his staff of assistants for helping get the newbies aboard as quickly as possible. When you have guys, when I have looked at my right, and I got a guy like Sean Dion Hamilton who's fully ready to run his own room as a linebacker coach, Shepard said. I took to my left, I got, Dave Currow, who helps me with the edge of the guys, the OLB guys, and then I look in front of me and I got Aaron Glenn. I'm all good. Now, Shepard believes one reason players are catching on so quickly in a standard but defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn has set and the buy-in that has followed from all the players in Detroit. I've had guys tell me that this is the room that, man, guys talk about this. But that way, that's what y'all practice. The way we prepare, this is different, man, Shepard said. So, when they see belief, when they see us living these things, I think it's a trickle down and these guys buy in and it's almost like without knowing. That unwavering buy-in helps motivate guys like Anzalone, who remains on injured reserve, to get in onboarding process, whispering lip tips to guys like Alexander and Long in the linebacker meeting room. The lone Remainer starter from the beginning of the season, Campbell has certainly taken the year 2 jump many were anticipating. The 2023 first round pick is now the 9th highest graded linebacker by PFF, with the 6th highest run defense grade among linebackers with at least 200 run defensive snaps. He's playing at, if not the highest level, one of the highest levels at that position in the league the last month, Shepard said. So with the NFL season coming to an end, no better place to look at than the NFL Super Bowl odds. And we have some great picks, and another great pick that I have been looking at is actually the Detroit Lions to win the NFL Super Bowl. So I absolutely love this pick on BetUS. As you guys know, BetUS is the fastest payouts in the industry, and right now they have 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. So definitely go check them out, and let's get back into the video. The third story is Dan Campbell is already coaching that the Lions are on top. Now, after Dan Campbell's gutsy decision to run it down the Green Bay Packers' throat, finishing them off with a rather kick and field goal and trust their defense, fans and analysts everywhere took issue. Don't put Campbell on my sideline. I just don't know. I don't know the emotional control of this coach. Let me tell you, Detroit Lions fans, there's no more ankles and kneecaps to bite. You're on top. Start playing like it and start coaching like it. Bruschi knows about being on top, having won 3 rings at the heart of Bill Belichick's original New England Patriots defense. He was considered a throwback guy even in his playing days, and now shows that in his analysis. When you show you're the best, you don't take risks to win. You play it safe. Play the percentages and trust your personnel and coaches' advantages to win the game. But that's exactly what Campbell is doing. Way back in 2009, the New Yorker published Malcolm Gladwell's How David Beats Goliath, a great article that begged and a best-selling book. The article focuses on a Silicon Valley area girls club basketball team and a hoops newbie parent who realized their band of geek family kids were never going to beat the teams full of bigger, better athletes who'd grown up on the hardwood and blacktop. He would teach his kids to get better at basketball, but he could teach them how to hustle their opponents with a swarming full court press. But Campbell's aggressiveness 4th down calls against the Green Bay Packers, which was a couple of weeks ago, weren't an example of an underdog strategy, because going for it on 4th down isn't inherently riskier than kicking a field goal or punting it. Right around the time when Brewski was hanging up his pads and Gladwell was getting ready to publish his book, Outliers, a former aerospace engineer named Brian Burke was turning heads in the sports blog world with his site. Advanced football analytics, among many concepts he pioneered, explored, explained, or popularized, he created a fourth down calculator that many analysts used to explain why NFL coaches were getting it all wrong. In fact, I once had a weekly column at Vice called Inopportune Knocks, where I frequently used it to run down the coaches who most aggressively traded better chances of winning for the fool's gold of staying in the game. Like most fourth down models then and now, Burke's calculator took the point of spread at kickoff into account, meaning the models adjust for whether the team making the goal is the favorite or the underdog. Burke wrote a very smart explainer of what playing like an underdog really means, and why it results in a better chance of winning. Put very simply, a high-risk strategy opens up a range of possible outcomes. The wider the possible range of outcomes, the better the chance that a less likely one, an upset, occurs.